The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the show. It's brought to you in association with Levi Solicitors, who will give you a 10% discount on your legal fees. And there is a special extended greater discount of 15% on the big three, which are, Michael?
Sean, Kevin, Augustine, etc. No,
Jean. You could have said Jean, Kevin and Augustine there for your big three.
Oh, well.
Do you want to do it again? Or?
No. Will's probate conveys anyway. People know what they are.
Yeah, there's an extra discount. If you go over to the Phil Hay Monday Club, you'll find the discount on there. LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball if you want your 10%. So propaganda, always a hoot when Leeds United have lost 5-1 at home to anyone for that matter. So this is the show where we dive into what's been said in the football world. Here's some clips.
Did listen to some Palace fans.
Not playing it?
Nah, that's no point, is there?
Were they pleased?
Yeah, they were just really pleased.
What were they most pleased about? I am intrigued from their point of view.
Was it the winning 5-1?
That was very much part of it. I think they were very pleased with Hodgson's general approach to stuff. This is like a late era doesn't give a fuck Hodgson was the vibe, and he's just allowed Eze and whatnot to just go and be good.
So what they put winning down to? Like the good players play well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. That seems to be about the gist of it, and obviously they're delighted, as they're absolutely right to be.
We're not here though to enjoy anybody else's joy, are we? This is all about misery. So
there's plenty of Leeds misery in there.
Well, shall we do the bloodletting now? Get the mega mix of misery out of the way. If you are listening in your podcast app, if you want to hover over that fast forward by 30 seconds button, press it about 7 times, starting about now.
Talk about a game of two halves. Second half, utter shite Leeds.
Our finishing is just not clinical. Bamford scored a good goal, but he didn't do anything else. I know he's there to score goals, but his hold-up play was poor. I would personally not want to see him start the next game. I also don't want to see Ayling start the next game. As good as he is coming forward, he's not very good at the back. We need to try something else. That was just an extremely poor second half. I think we're all a bit shocked and surprised, and just hope we do better against Liverpool and against the other teams that we need to beat.
Oh, foolish Leeds fans. Thinking everything was okay and we were going well, and clearly it fucking wasn't. We just can't have nice things. Clearly we thought, oh Jesus, Junior Firpo's fixed, everything's okay. This looks like it's going well. We could be going places. Could be even looking at Europe next year. Nope.
We looked so comfortable in the first half up until the 44th minute, and then that equaliser just absolutely killed us looking back. And second half, I don't know what happened, just fell apart completely. No one really comes out of that game with any credit. You know, you don't mind losing a game if it's, you know, a couple of world-class strikes or you're completely outplayed by a better team for 90 minutes, but that wasn't the case. I don't know what to say about it. Just hope it's a blip. Hope we can get back on form soon. Plenty of games to go. Still pick up those points that we need, but Jesus, that was bad.
All right, boys. Remember the stories of how Bielsa had the players in his team go out and pick up rubbish for the equivalent amount of time to afford a basic ticket for the game? Do you reckon that Gracia is going to maybe take some kind of equivalent example for that and have the players have the ever-loving fuck beaten out of them for 45 minutes to give them the idea of how that fucking felt in the second half of that game? What a fucking embarrassment.
I've just paused the TV. I'm going to bed. 4-1. What a fucking calamity. Stupid free kick from Rocker, the end of the first half, followed Firpo's stupid free kick. The second half, dear fucking God. You know the difference is? They've got players who are clinical, and our defence is just appalling. Aronson, can he stop falling over all day long? Falling over? Oh, this is relegation form. This game has really put the fear into me now. This is not a loss. This is a freaking calamity, and this is relegation loss. This is just disgraceful.
So it's possible that I did throw the F word out loudly while my family was cooking Easter brunch today. But yeah, once the third goal settled in and you're like, oh, okay, well, this is that accident that you just slow down to look at because you can't believe it's happening. And it's probably how West Ham felt against Newcastle and how Man U felt against Liverpool. But we are Sisyphus, and we're going to roll that rock, push that rock right up the hill. And I'm sure there's happiness somewhere down the road. But boy, today was the rock that wouldn't roll, and the cave is still covered with that damn stone. So, but I look forward to seeing all three of you happy next Monday when we beat Liverpool. So, cheers, guys.
Do you know what would have been nicer? If we'd just gone to the bottom of the hill, let the rock roll down and laid underneath it.
I mean, that is how the defence took the day. Just let them score, let them through.
I did like the idea of having the piss beaten out of them for 45 minutes, which, to be fair, they basically did anyway.
I've calmed down a bit, I think. I think framing it in the context of other teams get, like when Scum got battered by Liverpool, who are not even having a good season, and then they seem fine from it, don't they? West Ham seemed fine. Bournemouth seemed fine.
9, yeah. Southampton used to do it like twice a season. And then this season they haven't, and they're getting relegated. So maybe it's the best thing for it is just to every now and then get absolutely trounced and move on.
I mean, we had some of these last season where we didn't even get a good half. So
we lost to better teams last year, though, didn't we? I think that was the thing. We kind of expected Liverpool and Man City to batter us, and if Scum away was 5-1 as well, wasn't it? I don't know. It felt more. It felt more like it was coming.
Does it feel to you like this is just one of those days where somebody finds your Achilles heel and then boots the shit out of it repeatedly? They just knew how to get in behind as we collapsed. The heel crumpled with us on top of it. Wherever I'm taking this metaphor, I don't know.
It's sort of. I've been hearing a lot and seeing a lot of sort of like about the second half and the dreadfulness of the whole thing. It really comes down to 15 minutes after half time when Hodgson told them, have you seen how Leeds are playing against you? All the energy, all the pressing, not giving you any time, first to the second ball. Do that, give the ball to Eze and Elise, and we'll win. And they did that for 15 minutes, and that was it, basically.
Saw it was working, and then just they realised.
After that, almost, I don't know what to make of the last half hour, because did anybody expect us to score 4 and win 4-3? We would have had to, yes, that's what we would have had to do. So we needed to score 3 more at that point and win 4-3. And the goals, the 2 after that, were the classic kind of goals that get scored against you when you are chasing a game that you are 3-1 down in and everybody's a bit shell-shocked. It really, we didn't get any better, but we didn't sort of appreciably get any worse. It's that 15 minutes. And so if you do want to just narrow it down and calm it down, it was a quarter of an hour blitz from Crystal Palace that for whatever reason our players just weren't prepared for. And then what kind of recovery is coming after that? Because I mean, there's a psychology, the psychology of it all, and the mentality of like, are we going to ever recover from losing this as well? It's probably yeah, we'll be fine. But it's playing through. Once you're 3-1 down in that situation,
you see it out, don't you? You just see it out, get it over with.
Well, but it's horrible.
Yeah,
like from everybody's. But we have the advantage as fans that we can just get up and leave.
Which they did,
yeah, in big numbers. But if you're a player, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it apart from score, multiples of goals that are very unlikely. You're just stuck there on the pitch for another half hour, and it's all your fault, so you can't hide from that. Half the crowd have gone, the other half hate you. You're going to be, that you're going to be suffering through the rest of it. So that last half hour is just kind of.
So you're just seeing out the time, aren't you? You just don't want to be there. Nobody wants to be there, but you have to go through it because that's the rules of the game.
Yeah. So what happened after that is kind of once they'd gone those 2 goals in 2 minutes, 10 minutes into the second half, once it had got to that, it was kind of about just getting through to the rest of it. I don't really look at the rest of the game and go, that's a big sign for the rest of the season, or this is a sign that the team are definitely getting relegated because we couldn't come back from that. It just turned into a really shit situation. And what needs solving is not what happened after 3-1. What needs solving is what happened from 1-0 up to 3-1 down. That's the bit. And if you just focus on that, there's things that will
thing is though, Moscow,
hopefully be able to find.
People will hear that and will object to it because they'll say, well, if you get it back to 3-2, then it's on. Because we should have been fighting for it.
Yeah, but we were, and that's how we ended up going 4-1 down, because they broke on us 4-on-2, because we're not very good at. I mean, the first thing Gracia's done when he came in is sort of make us much more solid at the back, so that we're not left exposed all the time when we're being countered against. And because we were 3-1 down, we had to get back into the position of being vulnerable to counterattacks against a team who are absolutely beautifully set up to profit from counterattacks. If you send that bunch of forwards against you 4-on-2, it's, there's not a, well, it turns out exactly how it did turn out. So the things to do are to avoid getting into that situation in the first place, and then win.
Yeah, I think the second half was hugely disheartening, because we'd seen basically a game and a half of the centre and midfield looking quite good with Rocker and McKennie. And Harrison got his new deal. He's been playing well. And then the second half, Rocker and McKennie disintegrate and you're completely invisible. Jackie's miss-hitting free kicks that they're scoring from. And it just felt like everything that had been good the week before had disappeared. I mean, God, Bamford's getting criticised for scoring but not doing anything else. That's the Bamford reverse. That's what he's... That's the opposite of what he does. Normally you can say, well, he does tire players out. He does really... Obviously, he missed those 4 or 5 tap-ins. But, I mean, the rest of his game was good. Whereas this one, you just go, well, didn't do much apart from score. Yeah. Useless.
And I concur with Moscow in that this doesn't have to define the season. I mean, it might if we let it, but I don't think we should.
It absolutely could, but it doesn't need to.
No, I fully believe that we'll see a vastly different performance, hopefully. Again, I say fully believe. I fully hope we'll see a vastly different performance against Liverpool on Monday, when they've had time to get it out of the system and refocus and start again and look at the errors that they made and see where it all went wrong.
We seemed just unprepared. Something happened when as soon as we went ahead, we dropped, and Palace started looking a lot better between us being 1-0 up and half-time, and they got the equaliser. And
Did we sit back, Moscow, do you think?
Yeah, I think so, and I don't really know why. Although it has been a pattern against... in other games. Who have we been up against?
Forest.
Yeah.
Arsenal,
we were behind, weren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought
in general.
meant generally sitting back.
Yeah, there has been... I mean, caution has been what Gracia has tried to introduce, of not being gung-ho, and if we go 1-0 up, like, let's now be steady. Maybe we just can't do that without Verber and Adams, and maybe it's better if we try and keep going forward. But it seemed Hodgson afterwards was pretty clear about it. He just told them his players were soft in the first half, so he told them to play like we had in the second half. And I don't know, maybe if it's McKennie and Rocker just couldn't deal with that the way that they did against Forest. Everything was fine against Forest. Everything was fine in the first half. 15 minutes just seemed to break them, and then I don't really put too much into why they couldn't fight back after that, because that's a big ask at that point. And the easiest thing, the more obvious thing to do in those situations, do what Scum did the other week, where you just goals start absolutely flying in against you.
Punch a linesman, whatever it was that Fernandez did. That's always an option.
That is an option.
And then have the linesman punch you back.
Yeah, which is... what
happened to Robertson?
Yeah, so that's getting quite exciting.
It's fun, isn't it? On the leaving early thing, that's all kicked off, hasn't it? People just getting angry. People want to get angry at something, don't they, in the wake of a defeat like that? So they're all turning on each other.
Give someone to blame.
Yeah.
We'd have fucking come back if you went left at 4-1 down.
No, we wouldn't. I mean, I left early. I left at about 86 minutes, I think, because I'll just get out.
You never know. I'm generally a stayer.
I mean, Christ, my dad leaves even if we're winning.
Yeah.
I think he finds that worse.
Yeah, he leaves really early if we're winning, doesn't he?
If it introduces hope. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I generally will stay to the end, but as much as anything, that's because I like to get my value.
Yeah,
I paid for this. I'm gonna sit and watch all of the goals going.
Well, listen, we've got some Chelsea dickheads to get to, because let's face it, we're only here for other people's misery. Shall we get through anything else we need to get through from a Leeds perspective quickly and efficiently, and get to the good stuff?
It depends how much you want to dwell on it, really. I mean, I've got a couple more clips.
I mean, I'm interested in this Jason Derulo theory.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the man himself, but a couple of clips about the second half.
Okay. So first we're hearing from Neil and then Jason Derulo.
Yeah, so Neil thinks it's the worst half in ever, more or less.
Probably the worst 45 minutes of football I can recall in 4 or 5 years. We've spoken a lot about Jesse Marsh and how terrible it was, but that was the worst 45 minutes of football I think we've seen for a long time. There's a long way to go, I get it, but that has just drained every single ounce of hope out of us. A total embarrassment. Not much more to say about it. Absolutely fucking shite.
Yep.
So he's almost right.
Yep.
But he'll realise when he hears
international pop star,
when he hears international pop star, that his memory has hidden something from him.
I just didn't even get angry. I just kind of sat there and watched in disbelief as they walked the ball in over and over and over. And I thought we'd left games like this behind us, but the only one that I can think is a valid comparison is the Derby playoff game, where they get back on level terms, probably a bit undeservedly just before half time, and then the game just vanishes and the Leeds players just vanish and all hell breaks loose in the worst way. I mean, hopefully it's not going to affect the remainder of the season so much, but...
We talked about that, didn't we? I think after we'd finished recording. Just sat there going, I just don't know what to...
I'm not sure that really was Jason Derulo. It might have been somebody pretending who put that name down and it wasn't them. Because you know it's Jason
Derulo. Name.
Could be, yeah.
There's not just one Jason Derulo, and it's a big wide world out there.
Well, the authentic one always sings his name at the start, doesn't he? Jason Derulo. Like that.
I didn't go to school with any Derulos, I have to say.
Yeah, the famous Wakefield Derulos.
No. So, I mean, you never know. Could be him.
I suppose it's all down to the standard of the opposition, but we did lose 6-0 to Liverpool last year and 7-0 to Manchester City, and they were both worse.
And
it's
expectation, isn't it?
It's kind of, but I think in terms of the Liverpool one in particular was the one that felt particularly painful for a collapse point of view, because that was 3-0 until the 80th minute, and then it was Mane, Van Dijk, very nearly an ABBA song. In the last, it was 80, 90 plus 3, and I remember particularly Van Dijk's the header that got caught, the header that got cornered in 3 minutes into stoppage time, when our defenders were all just kind of standing there as if they were 5-0 down.
What am I supposed to do? Defend it?
Yeah, we're going to clear this. Nah. And it was so when people say I've not seen a collapse like this in 4 or 5 years, maybe it's because this is at Elland Road, and that was at both that and the Manchester City one were away. I suppose Spurs we were down quite quickly. So I mean, I don't know. It's kind of, maybe it helps that we've all forgotten the last days of Bielsa and how easily this was going on. But it's a year. When was this? February. We lost 4-0 to Spurs, and that was all 3-0 in the first half hour. 10-15, 27. So it does happen to us more often. So I think that's maybe why I'm quite...
I mean, to be fair, I often find myself gazing into the fridge wondering why I'm there. I've forgotten what I've set off on that journey for, so I'm not expected to remember 14 months ago. Sorry.
And the old, well, I mean, even going back to when we were talking about the second half, the 11th of January 2014, it was 2-0 at half-time against Sheffield Wednesday, or was it even 1-0?
When we brought Matt Smith on to change the game.
Yeah, and he got sent off after 30 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, we lost 5-1 at home to Bolton, and I don't even have any memory of it.
Yeah.
I know it happened.
Well,
I've seen the goals since.
Everything since before 2018 has gone now for me.
The old Forest 3-7.
I do remember. I remember that
pretty
one
big. Preston 6-4.
That's proper BC times, though. We're in AD now.
Yeah. I don't know if maybe it's part of... we talk about the school of hard knocks and a tough upbringing, is you kind of become immune to these kind of things after a while. It's like, we're losing 5-1 to Crystal Palace. That happens. Of course it happens with Leeds.
After a game and a half against Forest and Palace, though, I'd allow myself to think we're actually an all right team here.
We are an all right team.
We've got some good players. We're playing well enough to stay up. We'll probably win another 3 games this year, and that'll be fine. It'll all be done.
The same. I was kind of mentally composing what I could write about this game while I was watching the first half, and it was lots of things were just. I remember Gracia having a long chat with Weston McKennie when we were about to take a free kick, and it seemed so placid and civilized and like a real kind of
like a doubt in the park.
No, but whatever they were talking about, they were both taking it very seriously, and they were obviously like reaching an understanding about whatever tactical point. They kept making this movement where it was kind of into our half and then to one of the wings. And Gracia was obviously saying like, I need you to watch that. And McKennie's like making sure, so it's there and there. And like, well, if I do that, what about this? And it went on for quite a while. And it was just, I think we were 1-0 up at that point. And I was thinking, this is all very nice. We're leading. They're just getting getting things a bit organised. They seem to be getting along, and it's all just sensible stuff. That word keeps coming up. It's very sensible now, very normal. And it's whether you want to it's which part of the evidence in the scales you pay more attention to. Is it the game and a half where everything looked really good? And I think the thing to remember about Nottingham Forest is that we went a goal down and still came back to win 2-1 and always looked like we would. There was no sudden mental collapse and everything going wrong against Nottingham Forest. We didn't let them score 3 more with exactly the same 11 players. Or is it the start of the second half being overrun by Palace suddenly almost switching into an entirely different style of play from the way they'd been soft as shit in the first half to then not being able to, the way that the rest of the game just went badly wrong from there. It's like, which part do we pay more attention to? If it was only not Liverpool next, that might help, but then their rubbish will beat them. Andy Robertson will be still his broken jaw. He'll be in court with that linesman.
And let's get into the second half then now. Let's do the second half. This is the bit that's going to be perhaps a little bit more pleasurable.
Not the second half of the game.
No. The second half of this show.
The bit where we ignore Leeds.
Let's pretend Leeds didn't happen. Chelsea simpleton Rory Jennings, who has somehow made a living. I mean, I know we do this, and it's putting roofs over our head. But, fair play to Rory for the grift.
So last week, just if anyone didn't catch it...
Best day of his life.
It was the best day of his life that Frank Lampard was coming back. He was going to transform things instantly. They were going to win the Champions League. And the feel-good factor was back, was what was going to transform it.
Before I press play on this clip, and I haven't heard it, so you've heard it, I'm going to ask you, does Rory over-enunciate in a really earnest way?
He leaves a little pause when he's making his points, some of which I have to shorten and edit because it's too painful to listen to the whole thing in that style.
I see what you mean.
There was no manager bounce whatsoever. There was no extra threat. There was no extra zip. There was no extra hunger. There was nothing. It was comparable to what we saw under Graham Potter. So yes, of course, Frank Lampard needs to take some responsibility here, and I'm sure he will.
Oh, yeah.
We are Chelsea Football
Always
Club,
does.
and we are plodding our way, pathetically, slowly, to mid-table mediocrity. One of the criticism that is often levelled at Frank Lampard, and it is probably fair, is that thus far in his managerial career, he hasn't really worked out how to set up a defence. And today feels like a massive reality check. Appointing Frank Lampard, I think it did an awful lot for the fans. Like, it's all very well having Frank Lampard in the dugout, but where's Frank Lampard on the pitch?
I mean, he's nearly 45 years old, Rory. He'd be useless.
He would.
He's only about, I think he's a couple of weeks younger than me. I wouldn't put me out there.
This is Chelsea Football Club.
As much as I might want to pull on the white shirt right now, I wouldn't recommend it.
Is this the first example I've come across of it? This is Chelsea Football Club. But obviously, you get a lot of this is Manchester United.
Yeah.
I've heard it said Liverpool. Mm-hmm. This is Liverpool Football Club. I've heard Arsenal fans say it. I think for me, Chelsea fall under the
threshold.
Under the threshold for this is so-and-so football club.
They're a one-name club, aren't they? Like Aston Villa is 2 names. Aston Villa Football Club, Leeds United Football Club. They're one name, so it lends itself more to the 3-word thing.
No, because Manchester United is the staple.
But they don't go, this is Manchester United. They don't go, this is Manchester United Football Club. They go, this is United. This is Manchester United.
And however you want to do it, it's still just one syllable.
Got some good mank for you coming up in a bit anyway.
He was appointed on Thursday. What did this clown think he was going to do? Even...
Well, he thought just his presence would lift everyone,
like via some sort of football osmosis.
Because he thought everyone would be, of course. So it's quite the hard on for him in the same way as he does. So he thought maybe all the players would just be delighted to see Frank Lampard's face.
Rory's shtick is basically like you can essentially disregard whatever it was that he did last when he does another thing. Like point A and point B are completely unrelated and divorced from one another.
But there is a point about this kind of as this managerial merry-go-round seems to be out of all control this season in particular.
So he was coming at Reading.
No.
Noel Hunt.
I didn't even know Paul Ince had gone.
This morning, Paul Hunt has gone. Noel Hunt is in for the end of the season.
Paul Hunt.
Noel Ince.
Noel Ince has been sacked and replaced by...
That's it.
Anyway.
Yeah, Noel Whelan's in.
Right, Noel, well, I mean, that'll help them score, won't it? Well, and that's it. Are they expecting, like, Noel Hunt has these magical powers by just giving him the job, everything will be fine? That seems to be Rory's expectation with Lampard. Is just put him in on Thursday, and then they go to Wolves on Saturday, and they'll just win. And where he's saying, like, oh, he's got a reputation. I don't know why I'm sticking up for Frank Lampard particularly, but he's got a reputation for not being able to organise a defence. True. He had 2 days. Like, I don't know, like, what...
It's going to get worse, truthfully.
Exactly. But I don't know what anybody expects. Oh, he's not been able to sort that defence out in 2 days. A little bit with the whole Gracia at the moment, the way through the second half. I think Gracia has you could present it as a problem that he can't change our games. Like against Arsenal, we went a goal behind, and that was basically it. There was nothing we could do from then on. We just lost. And against Crystal Palace, we made some substitutions, but it basically just stayed exactly the same. And when has he had a chance really to tell them more than one thing to do? It was before the international break. It was like 3 games in a week after he turned up. And then everybody goes away. He said he had only 10 players left at Thorpe Park. Certainly a lot of the good ones were away and then came back injured, or were injured if they weren't away. And then we're back into 3 games in a week. And I think at the moment he is just going, right, here's the plan for this game, sending them out to do it. And if it doesn't work, he's a bit, I only had a certain amount of time.
Try again next week.
Yeah, and I don't think that's particularly...
I've got a solution, Moscow.
I was just going to say, I don't think that's particularly a bad thing. That's not a criticism of Gracia. It's more a kind of a thing of, well, with the time between these matches, how long is there actually for a manager to do all the things that we're expecting a manager to be able to do? Like, why cannot Frank Lampard turn this incredibly porous and boring Chelsea defence into prime 1980s AC Milan in 2 days? And it's just because they're not wizards.
And do you know what it is? It's because he needs Rory alongside him.
Maybe Rory could sort it out.
Rory as his assistant. That'll fix it. Should we go to Chelsea Fan TV then? And what happens here then? It starts off being nice about Lampard because there's all this wishful thinking and delusion and denial built into it.
It doesn't last long. No. Rory's sticking with it. This guy, he's very cross, and he starts off trying to cut Lampard some slack. No.
4 managers, and say what you want about Potter, say what you want about Lampard. It's his first game back. I mean, the biggest mistake, 2 biggest mistakes for him today. 3, probably. Okay, he's had a howler today. I'll take it back.
Actually, no. Do you want to hear some more of his player ratings?
And then you did this, and then you did this, and then you did this. Yeah, let's do it.
This is when he's going through the full. He was going through the full team. I've edited out some of the ones. I think the most anyone got was a 7. I think he gave to one player, but he's really cross about a few of them.
Kepa today, 0. A fat, big old 0. Distribution, shocking. Absolutely shocking. I'm being harsh with the ratings today. I couldn't give a toss. Could not give a bollocks about these ratings today. Fuck me. Gallagher. Utter shit. Utter shit. From start to finish. This geezer gets on my tits. Where's his number? Is it this one? 0. Again, 0 for him. No, enough said about that. Honestly, I'm done with him. The geezer's a goon. The guy's a fucking spoon. He really is. This player ratings is finished. It's done. It's over. Say what you want in the comments. I couldn't give a fuck. This is a bollocks. I can't even be asked to do this in the first place. So if you agree or not, I couldn't give a toss. The players as a whole, I'd give them all 0s if there weren't people. You gotta give them a rating. That's just lazy. Fucking you try and do it after they've played like that. Sterling 0, Havertz 0. And Gallagher -10. Simple as that. Fuck me. Just absolute shit. How on earth he didn't get substituted? I don't know. I just don't understand it. That's all I've got for today. There, reading week. That's the ratings. I've had enough. I'm lost for words. Absolute useless, toothless, useless pile of shit team this is. No one cares. Not a single player gives a fuck about this team. We're going to get embarrassed against Real Madrid. Truly, truly embarrassed. Have a good one. See you later.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys.
Telling his mum he don't want to do his homework. In defence of I don't know why, but the goal. Did you see Wolves' goal?
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Great goal.
and then I've just had a look. The Wolves had 3 other shots, and he saved them all.
0.
I think the kids call it a worldie, don't they?
It was incredible, like full. I mean, it bounced, so it's not quite full Van Basten. It's like half a Van Basten. It's like a Vamba. So, but then on the other ones, I don't know if the other 3 saves that he made were particularly difficult, but yeah, 4 shots on target for Wolves, 1 goal, 3 saves. So that keeper's fine, and if he's not fine, they've got another £100 million one waiting to take over from him.
I can't another one.
I can't remember who it was that was the spoon. It was a goon and then a spoon.
Was it Gallagher initially?
I think just because it rhymed, he ended up going from goon to
I
spoon.
don't mind him kicking Conor Gallagher because he's a Leeds-hating bastard.
I immediately, my mind turned to Happy Gilmore. Have you seen the bit in the film? He goes, "You're a goon, you're a spoon. Can I whistle a tune? Can you do it soon?" Anyway, should we move on to City Extra?
Oh, do you want? Let's save City Extra for Moscow for the end because I know he likes the mank.
Oh, okay.
I do. I love a mank.
Let's go for more misery. I tried listening to some Southampton misery. They obviously lost to Man City, so they were kind of all right with it.
Are they resigned to their fate?
I think they are. They were in the ground recording a bit, and I think they've gone 3-0 down, or was it 3-1? I can't remember. But they go, we could still get back into it, and you can tell their heart's not in it. They're like, it's not. We're not getting back into this. There's absolutely no chance.
Should we go to the East Midlands?
Yeah, go on. So, Forest. Last week we heard from them and they were hoping to keep Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Changed their mind now.
I don't think they're going to get to keep him anyway, but let's listen.
Mega disappointing. Just didn't get enough shots off on goal again. Not enough chances. Not good enough. For me, if we keep Cooper, I think we'll go down. Just wasteful. What do you think? I can't really say much else. Just
Cooper out.
Yeah. I'm afraid it is for me. We're just not getting the results. Results have gone really against us today. Everybody else is picking up results, but not us. So something's got to change. And the only thing that can change, we can't change the players. The only thing we can change is the manager and hope for that bounce.
2-0 to Aston Villa was nowhere near good enough. Nowhere near good enough. The manager's not good enough. Most of the players aren't good enough, and the fan base have put up with a lot of shit. I've got to call out these happy clappers, because any other manager with the run of results he's had, with the run of performances we've had, would have got sacked. He's been kept in the job because people have been clapping along because they think he's good enough to get us back up. We're not getting back up if we get relegated, and he's going to go as soon as we're gone, as soon as we're down. So get that delusion out of your head. At this rate, we're going down. I've got no hope unless something changes drastically. And by drastically, I mean he needs to go. I don't care who gets brought in, but Cooper needs to go. Cooper out for me.
Mad, ain't it, football? All anybody's got, you were saying this, Moscow, is just get rid of the manager.
Don't care who gets brought in. Dean Smith? Do you want Dean Smith? Do you want Jesse Marsh?
Were we guilty of this earlier in the season? Or was it more specific than that?
It's very late now. I think that's the point it's got to. I would say you've left it too late at this stage.
When you listen to him there, he's not even, and this is where it's got to. If it's earlier in the season, I think Gracia was right at the end of kind of the potential. And in fact, Phil's mates at The Athletic did a study on this, isn't it? Of like how late in the season you can make a managerial change and get any benefit from it. And we were just about on the last edge of it. So,
and I think we had been asking for it for a while before that as well, truthfully.
Where it's got to, and I don't know if it's just a this season thing or it's just a general trend or it's just everybody's desperate, or maybe it's because there are so many teams involved in the relegation battle. All your Forest, all the tricky tree is asking for there is the bounce. It's not, if we get a new manager, they can put in a different style of play, or it's like maybe a new manager can make some tactical changes, or a new manager can get more out of the players. It's like, oh, well, it's that Scum fan a while ago was like, as the new manager bounces, this impenetrable, oh, they got a new manager, so they'll win that game. They'll win a game. And it's coming down to where one win might keep you up, or people are thinking, oh, if you just get one win, it'll make such a difference.
Well, have we got so short-termist that we just think about like 1 or 2 games now?
Yeah. That's it. That's all he wants. He doesn't want, he's not thinking, we have, there's a player on the bench. You could bring him out. Well, we've got, 25 players on the bench. We could bring some of them out into the cold and make these changes. Like, no, if we get rid of this guy, then it will just, the mood will change and the new guy will win the next match. And then it's what Leicester were kind of banking on with sacking Brendan Rodgers. They did not have a plan beyond. They want Steve Cooper. They don't want Steve Cooper. They want Graham Potter, but they know they can't have him now. So there's like, well, let's see if the coaches we've got do something. They lost both games, and then it's like, Jesse, and then even Jesse Marsh is like, lads, no, I'm not going near this, or whether it was whichever way round. It depends who is talking to which newspaper as to who has decided not to go with who, and then you end up with Dean Smith and John Terry.
I mean, wow.
I suppose the one thing Leicester might have there is that they've got Shakespeare back, kind of who was with them when they were winning stuff.
But he had to go be a manager as well, didn't he? After they sacked Ranieri, didn't they, for this reason too? They were panicking and just needed a change. But then they got rid of Shakespeare. Mm-hmm. Did they get rid of him for Rodgers, or did they have someone in between? I can't remember.
Does Shakespeare have a sister?
Chelsea might be the ultimate example of this as well, as just bringing Lampard back, because
it's something.
Yeah, it's something, and people like him, and that might do something. But yeah,
should we hear from Leicester?
There's no real thought behind any of this, is there?
I did see for a game for. Do you remember Tommy Spur played for Sheffield Wednesday and Huddersfield and stuff? But his son's ill anyway.
Yeah.
So there's a game, a Sheffield Wednesday Legends game against a Sheffield United Legends game. Good cause and all that. But I noticed the managers are Ron Atkinson and Neil Warnock. And you thought, this is essentially where it wouldn't be entirely surprising if that was a league match and those two were in charge, because both clubs have gone. Don't know. Trevor Francis back.
What did we do that worked before?
So the flip side to this is Crystal Palace, because they've got Roy Hodgson in, who they got rid of not so long ago, and he just seems to, enjoying himself, just having a laugh and making it very simple, and was, dancing his way around Elland Road on Saturday, and that seems to have been maybe a better option than Patrick Vieira, who was all kind of like, right, this is going to be a project. We'll build a team over 3 years. Hodgson just goes like,
kick it over to the fast lads.
I ain't got long left. Give it to the fast players.
Let's go to Leicester then and hear how miserable they are, shall we?
So they lost to Bournemouth at the weekend, didn't they?
It's too little too late. I think that's it. I think we're done. There's no fight left in the team. I have never booed at a football game, but that's the first time I have, and I think the whole club at the moment is just rotten.
So, Jake, I think you're pretty critical of the...
I'm done. I think we're done.
Jake's done. He thinks you've got to blame the board for not having a plan B when you sack Rodgers. Do you agree? What were the board doing? They sacked Rodgers. They've took 2 coaches in. Rumours of Jesse Marsh coming in tomorrow. Don't think anybody wants that.
There's no point. You've got to... If you want to bring a manager in that wants to change around, Jesse Marsh is not the person to
he's never managed in the Championship, and if that's where we're heading, why on earth would you put him in charge? Sam, what's your views?
My views are season's done. I think we're a relegated club now. We had to get a massive 3 points there, 6 points a match. We didn't turn up in the first half at all. A little bit more fight in the second half, but it doesn't matter because we still lost 1-0 at the end of the day.
Sam feels we're relegated now.
I feel we're relegated. I said that to you, didn't I?
Appalling. Really, really bad.
We should have won today. I mean, that's it. We've got to go down and rebuild.
We've got to go down and rebuild. 2 things from that. Who wants Jesse Marsh? Well, those USMNT weirdos who keep popping up on Twitter, they do. They'd have been delighted to see him going into Leicester, so they could go follow them then and leave us alone. That, according to my research, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying the Southampton fans are basically accepting it now.
Yep.
That's Leicester who are saying they're down. Forest pretty much sound defeated. There's your 3 relegated clubs. It's over. We're staying up. They're going down. We're staying up.
I mean, that is what the bookmakers say as well. That is those 3. But I think we're like 4-1. So we're still in with a good chance.
Yeah. Our odds did double on the algorithm, the 538.com algorithm. We were at 10%, and then this defeat against Palace.
You're criticising Roy for changing his opinion. All 538 do is, as results come in, they go, oh, you've lost, so you're more likely to go down. Oh, fucking brilliant. What an absolutely fantastic model. Thanks for bringing this to us.
It's gone up to 20% now, the likelihood.
Thankfully, it was 5-1, so we got a point.
I suppose
you're having a go at my goal equals point stat as well. Double whammy. Thank you, Michael.
No worries.
A sort of comparison would include the fact that we've won 3 games since Leicester last won a game. And in that time, they have lost, including the FA Cup to Blackburn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, I think. split over 2 pages on the internet. Quite annoying, whoever designed that. Yeah, they've lost 8 times since they last won a game, and in that time we have won thrice. So, and that, yeah, I'm including our FA Cup defeat goes in there as well. So, under those kind of with that bearing, they've had 2 players sent off too, which is a bit of a. I don't think that's a good sign when your players start getting sent off and injured and all that kind of stuff. The vibes around Leicester certainly seem a lot worse. Although their defeats are, I guess this is about proportion as well, isn't it? So 1-0 to Southampton, 3-1 to Chelsea, 2-1 to Palace. So they haven't thrown in any 5-1s, only 1-0 to Bournemouth. But they just haven't won any.
We were getting it all out of the way in one go, Moscow.
Yeah, 1 point out of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games.
Is that 1 point in 24?
I feel like sometimes I should be replaced by the count off of Sesame Street when I'm trying to do things like this. 1 game, 2, 3, 4. So how many is that? 8 times 3?
24.
And they've got 1 point.
Yeah.
It's weird because we were saying about
them. Should have conceded more.
About you just need to change manager. I'm sure Rodgers is a good manager. There's plenty in his CV to suggest that he knows what he's doing. And yet, that was going on.
Sometimes it just goes off the boil, doesn't it?
I think it was the same with us and Bielsa, wasn't it? Like, there's no. I would doubt we'll ever have a manager as good as Bielsa.
I guess
in some
that
ways.
was the danger in Leeds opting to stand still in the second season, is that the momentum can go out of it, can't it? The wind can go out the sails. And
would you have sacked him after that 9th place finish?
No, but there is
talking to Jesse Marsh after the 9th place finish.
Yeah, there's an argument for saying just have a better strategy.
Leicester have problems. Strategy in terms of Leicester is a problem in that a lot of players are out of contract at the end of this year. A lot of first-team players and a lot of the players who Brendan's kind of pissed off would be important players. Apparently there's a bit of a Belgian clique of players who are all kind of annoyed together, and those kind of things that have allowed those to happen instead of a bit more like, I don't think that's going to be, because there's nobody out of contract with Forshaw is out of contract at the end of the season. Beyond that, I think everybody else is pretty tied down. So that at least is something that's not a factor. They've all got something. They've all got a future here of some kind, whether it involves getting sold or whatever.
Forest just wish all their players were out of contract at the end of the year because they've got about 40 of them.
I mean, that's the other thing with Forest, where you end up with, because they immediately had some players who were left out of the Premier League squad and stuff and weren't happy about being like Lewis O'Brien.
Lewis O'Brien's name in the mud.
Ended up in DC United with Click, hasn't he?
It's the midfield we never had.
Yep. And it's those things just feel like storing up trouble that we should not be having.
No. So let's not.
So hopefully we won't.
Come on, let's finish on a high then. City Extra, always good value. Very Mancunian. This is the two brothers, if anybody's heard them before on the show, if you're new to the show.
I don't know if they are brothers.
Oscar's fit. They call each other bro a lot.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they are.
That definitely means you're brothers.
I think they're in one bedroom.
Yeah. I'm starting to imagine, like, what's the film, Step Brothers?
Do you know I've never seen it?
Will Ferrell movie.
No, I've not seen it.
Yeah, I'm starting to imagine, two grown men in bunk beds. But
yeah, Haaland scored a good goal. Obviously, they won. Normally we go to them for misery. But because Haaland scored such a good goal, it was kind of an overhead kick where he was running away from goal. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was
brilliant,
amazing.
Brilliant Haaland stuff. But I went there for flames in the chat.
Yeah.
Which there isn't. But just their reactions to it. I think their reactions to anything.
Did we get any air horns?
Is worth listening to. I don't think there are any horns, but I just like listening to them.
Another ball in behind.
Ball in behind for Grealish.
Come on, lad.
Take that. Take him on.
Take him on. Yeah, take him on. Take him on. Haaland.
No way! No way! No way! Overhead kick from Erling Haaland! Overhead kick from Erling Haaland! Overhead kick, mate!
What are you talking about, mate?
Jackie G&A! Overhead kick!
Oh, Haaland, mate, just scored an overhead kick, people.
I Grealish knew what he was doing there. Pinged it straight up and was like, bang.
Are you mad, bro?
Yo, that's some wild ass shit, man.
Oh, mate, are you crazy? He's absolutely incredible. Oh, fuck it, I can't watch it no more. I can't watch it no more. It's that good.
They're great, aren't they? I thought they'd burn themselves out after about 30 seconds into that clip and they just fell silent for a moment, but then they came back with more.
Because when we first came across them, when he couldn't watch Liam Cooper's tackle anymore.
He was being sick in a bin.
Because he was being sick in a bin, but now he's watching Haaland over a kick. I can't do it.
Yeah, they've grown. They're the writer as well to have picked out so quickly that, and this is just praising Manchester City now, but I suppose it was a cool bit of play. Grealish set that up for the overhead kick as well, didn't he? He could have put it on in front of Haaland to nod it in, but you can tell the way he played it. He's like, no, I'm going to put this behind him. And there's all because they were 3-0 up at that point, were they? And I think there's almost an element with Grealish because he's such a so-and-so. So I'm going to make this really difficult for Erling, like sort that out. It's like,
imagine being that good that you're just having a laugh like it's a training exercise.
I think that's why I enjoyed watching it, is you're just kind of watching some people who are just really good at stuff and they're doing it really well. And it helps that Erling Haaland is from Leeds, so you can kind of imagine he's wearing a white shirt while he does these kind of things, but sometimes you do like ignore everything that's paying for Manchester City and the fact that they're so much better than we are, and just go like, yeah, that was really cool. Enjoy it when you're playing in the North East Counties division, because the club has been demoted and had all its titles stripped.
And in the meantime, it is still going to be funny watching them overtake Arsenal.
Yeah.
It does feel like that's going to happen.
Calvin Phillips
But then
with
again,
the Premier League winners medal.
I've been expecting that all season and Arsenal's still there, so yeah, you never know. Bit of a wobble though.
We'll see. Right, that wraps up this episode of Propaganda. We've got a bit of extra coming for the TSB Plus members as well. Some chat about Izzy Brown and Warnock. It's like going back to Huddersfield all over again. Bloody hell, Warnock, his self-awareness is terrifying. More of that on Propaganda Extra. We'll speak to you in a bit.
The Square Ball Podcast.